Good morning. I'm Diane Daniel, and it's musing time. We're just waiting for Michael C Higgins, PhD, to join us. And there he is, the
What?
man, the myth, the legend. Good morning. Thank you for
Good
being
morning.
here with us. Okay, we're gonna
Happy
take
to.
it. We're gonna take it from the top before I ask many more questions. Viewers, this is Diana Danielle, and I'm coming to you live from Los Angeles. It's musing time, and today I'm delighted to have with me Michael C Higgins, PhD, the award-winning author and photographer of the uber popular wine series books called Exploring Wine Regions. He has one that's going to debut in about a month or so, and he has three back titles that are still selling like crazy. He is the man to listen to about wine, food, and travel. So welcome, Michael.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. That was a very nice introduction. Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope that there's a lot of enophiles, foodies, and travel aficionados listening because there are pearls of wisdom coming out of this man's mouth. Michael, is the creator, author, and photographer, and his fourth book is, wait for it, about the wine regions in Mexico.
Yeah.
Michael, tell us about your latest book, and then we'll go back and go from the genesis, but just so people know what's coming out now.
Yeah, the next book is on the Mexico wine regions. I think most people think of Mexico for tequila, as they should, because they're famous for
And the
tequila. Oh,
beaches,
and the
and
beaches. Oh my
San
God.
Miguel de Allende,
Yeah.
where writers can go and write their books.
So the wine is good too. And so I have focused on their three top high quality wine regions. And by the way, one of those surrounds San Miguel de Allende that you just mentioned.
Well, I really want to go there to a writer's retreat, so maybe I'll be, and I know that we're going to talk about some of the one of a kind experiences you've had while researching and writing and photographing for the book, and that you might be able to like hook me up if I do go
Yes,
for a
I'm ready to hook
price.
you up. There's probably 50 or 60 wineries around San Miguel de Allende.
Wow.
There's a lot there. And one of the things that's really special about them is many of them have chefs with incredible food, unbelievable.
Well, it's kind of a match made in heaven, right? Like you have to have
It's
the wine, but
true.
it's very important. Also, I mean, I'm married to an Italian who loves food. I mean, the wine complements the food, and food is love, and food is very important.
Exactly. And they have that figured out there.
And it's not like the tortillas. I mean, this is haute cuisine.
Oh, no kidding. Absolutely. Wow. You know, sometimes you feel like you are in Beverly Hills at a Michelin star restaurant at 75% off.
Wow, that's one of the best things about going. I think when you go to Mexico, I mean, you have a heart for the poverty that lives there. There's a lot of bargaining and negotiating on the beaches for delightful little things you can purchase, and you you also feel kind of like a king or that you're wealthy because the prices are so much lower than what we're used to in America.
That is very,
Now, I
very
want
true.
I want you to tell us how did this is your fourth book. So
Yeah.
you've been doing this since 2019, maybe
Or
2015. And how did it start?
wow, I used to be in the magazine business, travel magazine, and my magazine is for people who own and travel on private airplanes. So they're very much into the food and wine experience. And so when I
And then
decided
they
to get
don't
out of,
drink and fly.
no, you don't do that at the same time. Good
This
idea.
how's to do.
But you know, when I decided to get out of that business, I went to Argentina because I wanted to find out why the Malbec wines were so incredibly good. And that's what took me there. And I thought, hey, I'll bring back a nice little feature story that I can give to my team, or my ex-team, I should call them, and give them a great story. But I was there for 5 weeks,
Wow.
and that was
I
more than
admire
a
that.
feature
You're
story.
very European in the length of time that you can vacation. Of
Yeah.
course, it's all virtual now, anyways.
Oh, but I go. I mean, I was physically on the ground for 5 weeks, and that was bigger than a feature story. So the entrepreneur in me said, let's create a book and a book series. And so that's how it started. It started with Malbec in Argentina.
Yeah, I want to go to Argentina. And didn't you tell me before this interview that a winemaker from Argentina, poof, showed up in Mexico?
You know, that is a big reason why I went to Guanajuato. Guanajuato is where San Miguel de Allende
Oh,
is because I was in Valle de Guadalupe. That's the number one wine region in Mexico. It's in Baja California. And while I was there, I get this text message from this friend of mine who's a winemaker at a very important winery in Mexico, I mean in Argentina, and making incredibly great wines. And she
and
says to me,
Malbecs.
of course, Malbecs, right? Oh my God, her vineyards are over 100 years old. They're just incredible Malbecs. But she sends me a text telling me she's in Mexico making wine. And I'm invited to Guadalupe, so I said, hey, where are you? I'll come see you. And she says, well, no, I'm in Guanajuato. And I said, what's a Guanajuato? But because of her reputation with a great winery, with great wines, she would never leave there to go to Mexico if she wasn't improving her opportunities.
Correct.
And so I went there because of her, because I
And
knew
is
the
it like
wine
the
was good.
viticulture or the climate where this is located in Guanajuato, did you say? It's very similar to where she was making wine in Argentina?
Yes, because neither place is influenced by like the cold ocean breezes like we're used to, like here in California, or even in Valle de Guadalupe in Mexico. But what happens is it's high elevation, semi-desert terrain, and that's exactly what they have in Guanajuato and in Mendoza, Argentina. So they already know the terroir. They already know the whole climate. Yes.
And tell us, you
And
started with
she's
Argentina.
not the only one. I met other Argentines in Guanajuato. So several of them have moved there.
You're almost also an investigative reporter on top of all that. I mean, your PhD is in business, right? That's why you're so
Correct.
wildly successful. And you know how to do the Napoleon Open with the champagne. Tell us a
That's
little,
true.
this is a side note, but it's so interesting. Tell our viewers about what is the Napoleon Open. I saw you
Well,
do it on YouTube.
you did. Okay, right. It's at our Exploring Wine Regions YouTube channel, right? There's
Okay.
probably two of them or three of them there, actually. So what happened was when Napoleon would win his wars, he would celebrate with a bottle of champagne. He would take his big sword out and he would open the bottle of champagne with the sword.
Such flair.
And it's flair and the bubbles come flowing out
Very
and you know
good.
what? I think he did it when he lost also because he needed the champagne for the sorrow.
He was drowning his sorrows in French champagne.
So I think every battle always had a sword opening champagne.
I love that. And
That's the
didn't you do a
story.
book in France? Speaking of Napoleon?
Yes, I did a book on Bordeaux, France. Like
And
the
how did
center
that
of the
come about? Like
universe on
what drew
wine.
you there?
Well, after
I
I
mean,
did, well, I did Argentina. And Argentina happened, for why we just discussed. And then the question was, where should I go next? And I discussed this with my distributor. My distributor is the biggest book distributor in the world. So we have great distribution, Baker and Taylor.
Baker and
And
Taylor,
what happened?
such a
Yeah.
hallowed silk stockings 1800s New York thing.
So we had this conversation. What wine regions would be most important to do? And the answer was Bordeaux, France, and California. Those would be the most important. So me, someone who likes to go get it done, I thought I'd do them both at the same
Wow.
time. And
Wow.
I know. And then eventually they took the straitjacket off of me. And I focused on Bordeaux. So Bordeaux became my second book. And
Well,
Bordeaux,
pobrecito, how many weeks did you have to be in
oh
Bordeaux?
my
Pobrecito.
gosh. Over 3 years, I went twice a year, generally a month, sometimes 2 months at a time. And this ended up being the Bordeaux book.
Oh, I'm
It's
glad you have all the book covers. That's
it,
great.
it's it's like 500 pages. These are all my photographs. It's a beautiful book.
That's what makes you very unique and interesting. I know in children's book publishing, someone writes the words and almost always someone else illustrates it. So for them to be the same person is very unique and fabulous and, kind of mind-boggling. But you are the photographer
I am the
and the
photographer.
author, writer, publisher, man of many hats, entrepreneur. But your photographs are incredible. I know
Thank
you've
you.
won a lot of accolades and awards for the photography as
Well,
well.
you talked about my business degree, but my undergraduate degree is in commercial art, where I focus on photography, and that's where I learned the art of photography. And so that's
Oh, that's right. You
what
went to
I
Art
taught.
Center,
I
right?
did go to art center.
In
Exactly.
Pasadena.
Right. So, my books, the photography is my favorite part. I write it because I have to. And fortunately, people love how I write, and judges give me really good, uh, whatever the
Well,
words are,
you're
they give me
an
good
author.
accolades. Well, this Bordeaux book won 11 awards.
That's incredible. Now, show us the next one. Tell us about the Central Coast, which is right,
Okay.
just north of Los Angeles. We're coming to you live from Los Angeles.
Yeah, so the Central Coast is between Los Angeles and San Francisco along the coast. So north of Los Angeles is the Santa Barbara wine regions, then the San Luis Obispo wine regions, which includes Paso Robles, and then the Monterey wine regions. So that is the area of the Central
Yes,
Coast.
I'm seeing now the feel of the covers, how they're the
Big
same
book.
but different. They go with the
Exactly.
series.
And then the same thing with the big, beautiful photographs. And
And it's kind of like an insider's guide, wouldn't you say? Because you're as like an investigative oenophile, food, travel. You can take your
yeah,
plane up there.
well, because they're beautiful, they're great coffee table books. They're great for gifts. You don't know what bottle of wine to buy someone, you get them the book because it has all the wine in it. But it's also an insider's travel guide because I am showing people the wineries that are not just open to go have a glass of wine, but ones that actually have tourism experiences. You can go there and actually do things, and they have high quality wines. Those are my two most important characteristics: high quality wines and great tourism. Like how about being able to stay in a hotel in a vineyard? A guest
Oh,
house in a vineyard. How about horseback riding through the vineyards? Things like that make your experience way more than just tasting wine. Food and wine experiences, lots of food and wine experiences.
and it's very detailed because in the back of each section, there's like, graphs and charts and dots and like to help people source. Like I'm a Pinot girl, so I would want to find the Pinot Noir. And I love sparkling wine and champagne. And I recently found out it's the same grape, so I feel like I'm consistent.
That's pretty funny, but true. Exactly. Well, see, I really believe in terroir. Terroir is the location in which the grapevines grow. It's the climate, it's the soil, it's the weather, it's the people, it's all the things that go into making that spot special. And different wine grapes like different places, like the Pinot Noir that you talked about. It likes a cold place, it likes it nice and cool. Where Cabernet Sauvignon wants it hot, wants lots of warm heat, sunshine. So
What
and
about Malbec?
longer term. And Malbec likes that too. You're right, exactly. So one of the real keys to being able to drink great wine is to know where the grapes grew. Because if you knew they grew in an optimum environment, you have a pretty good chance that's going to be a good wine. And so with my book, with the California book, see, in Europe, like in France and Bordeaux, that's all they do is think about terroir. Everything is terroir. But that's not how the New World, like the United States and Australia, New Zealand, and even Argentina, nobody thinks of the terroir, but the terroir is critical. And I set up this California book to help people find the great wines they like for you, Pinot Noir, and where are the best Pinot Noirs in this region. So you can go and enjoy what it is that you love.
Right. And so if you have those questions, Michael Higgins has the answers. Now, tell me about the next, I mean, this book isn't even out yet, Mexico, always with the accent over the E. But there's even another book, a fifth in the series that's, looking ahead. Adelante, as they say in Spanish. Are you allowed to say what the next one is going to be?
I leave in a week and a half for Greece.
Ooh.
And I'll be there for a month. This will be my second trip. They've been making wine there for 5,000 years. And it's fascinating.
Ancient Greece, I mean.
It is ancient. Do you know why the Italians have wine?
Because they didn't have any water. But I'm married. My kids are Italian. I'm married to an Italian.
It's because the Greeks took the vines to Italy.
Oh, God bless them.
And then do you know why the French have wine?
Because France was part of the Roman Empire, and so they got
The Italians took the grapevines to France. Of course, that's before it was France, but that's how the vines got there. The Romans, the Italians took it there. The Greeks took it to Italy. It's very interesting how the history of how the wine grapes have moved across the globe.
Yes, and I know, I think, what's the number one? I think there's more Italian, there's more French wines, and then it's Italian. I mean, do you know like the order of which country produces like the most wine?
So Italy produces the most.
And you haven't been there.
And I have not been there.
But I would have suggested.
It's a good idea. I have two places in mind, actually, that I want to cover. So the second is France. And of course, the French hate the Italians because they wish they were first. Yeah. And then what comes next is Spain. Spain is number 3.
Oh, I lived in Madrid. I lived in Madrid for several years. I speak Spanish. I love that place. Yeah. They have some place called Rioja. It's Rioja, like exactly. They told me it was their Napa.
Yes. The 4th is the United States. But get this. Number 5, Argentina.
And you've been there.
Argentina is number 5. So that gives you an idea of the growth and the volume of wines in the world. And while Mexico is not on this, they're way down on the list in terms of quantity, right? But there's quality there. But, since you brought up living in Madrid and Rioja and Spain, Spain had conquered Mexico before it was Mexico. Right? And they controlled it. And the King of Spain demanded that vineyards were planted all over the country. And so massive amounts of vineyards were planted there. And and of course they figured out the places that don't work. Like Mexico City, it doesn't work there. It's not the right terroir, right?
Not the right
terroir. But anyway, but the right places did work. And this is a fascinating story because they started making really good wine. And that wine, of course, had to be shipped back to Spain because the king wanted the wine. Well, there was a new problem. The wines coming from Mexico were better than the wines in Spain.
Oh, that's incredible.
That did not go over well with the king. So the king started taxing the wines from Mexico until it was no longer commercially viable. Of course, that pissed off the Mexicans big time, and it created a revolution. And that revolution was the big revolution that gained Mexico its independence.
Oh, so the wine is because it's like for us taxation without representation, and the tea coming from Mariold. And so this had to do with the wine. I mean, it was one of the legislative.
But wine is the reason that Mexico has its independence. It's what instigated the entire revolution. It's pretty cool.
I totally want to know that, because I think this title is especially exciting, not only because I speak Spanish and I want to go to San Miguel de Allende, but because it's like a surprise. Like, people expect you to have gone to Bordeaux. I mean, if you know Malbec, Argentina makes sense. But I mean, there's such a large mass of humanity who thinks it's beaches and tequila
Right.
and cerveza.
Exactly. Look, here
Oh,
it
it's
is.
beautiful.
Here it is.
What is pictured on the front? Which?
Oh, this is a great place in Valle de Guadalupe. It's called
And that's in
I
Baja.
what's
That's in
that? It's in Baja, right?
California.
It's only like an hour and a half south of the U.S. border drive. That's it.
So is it close? It's the Rosarito's right away. So how many hours, like Ensenada comes? Like what is it? It's like inland, right? Because it's wine.
Yeah, it's in a valley, like wine regions are. It's in a valley, and the cold Pacific Ocean comes into that valley, which is how they get their hot days and cold nights. And at the oceans, just south of the valley, is where Ensenada is located. So Ensenada is a great place to go to, although there's lots of places to stay in the valley. You know, this place here is not only a winery and an incredible restaurant, but they have rooms. It's a little hacienda. It's probably.
And what's it called? Because I want to go there.
I know you're asking me the question, and
because a lot of viewers are from Los Angeles and they need to know where they can go immediately, and obviously where they can buy the book.
They need to get the book. They need to get. So, by the way, just so you can see this,
the charts you have at the back that tells you how to do everything.
So it's called Adobe Guadalupe.
Adobe Guadalupe.
Exactly. Right.
Voy a apuntarlo aquí.
So you're asking me in the back. What are you asking me for?
Just to show the page of the book where you have that very meticulous. Like, if you don't have to, it's like graphs right and here. Dots. Yeah, that's it.
Right. So I've organized it all, so you can find them by page number. Yes. By the way, the pages are coming out because the book's not bound. This is, I showed you the book, but you can see here it's just loose pages because the finished book is not yet here. So you're getting a real
early October.
Yes, you're getting an early sneak peek.
You're seeing it here on Musing Time.
Exactly.
Now, tell us a little bit. I know that you've had these one-of-a-kind experiences in the making of these books, which makes you want to continue to make them, because I think, especially today, when you're trying to fundraise, people want to have experiences. Like, they want to run on the team with the LA Lakers. I mean, they want to do something that you can't buy, right? Because experiences that you can't buy. So if I just drove my car down to Ensenada and then drove inland to the vineyard, I could stay at Adobe Guadalupe. But if I did something through you, now don't you also work organizing groups that have one-of-a-kind experiences?
I do. I plan groups and go to these wine regions.
You're forced to go back.
I'm forced to go back, right? I'm the one who has to do this terrible hard work, but someone needs to do it. I'm actually looking something up because you're asking me, the teacher always learns more than the student. And I'm the teacher because I'm writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
I learned so many interesting things. I mean, I didn't know about San Miguel de Allende. That is one incredible little village with cobblestone streets, and it's an incredible place. It's an art place, actually.
Yeah, that's why there's writers' retreats, the literary arts. I mean, also visual arts and maybe photography. You could.
Yes, and it's such a beautiful place. I mean, and you can stay there, and there's lots of restaurants, and like I said, there are wineries all over the place.
It's very high American count down there. People are just they may keep their house here, but they're going down there for that experience.
I have this funny little joke.
Okay.
The second language in San Miguel is Spanish.
Did you hear that down there?
I've told them. Well, but they know, because what happened is this town had some plague long time ago, and it became abandoned people left because the plague was there. They thought if they were there, they would get the plague and die.
And they were going to die. Like, be there, die. Not good.
So artists from the United States, what an opportunity. It's cheap. No one wants to be there. They can move in. Artists, you know, they're poor and trying to do art and make money, and they go there. And that's how it became an artist community. It's always stayed an artist community. It's no longer cheap. It's an expensive place now, but what an incredible place to go to.
So it's based on a plague then?
Well, the plague is what caused the town to be abandoned.
And what was the year of this?
I need to read my book and I can give you the date.
1900s?
Yeah, it was 100 years ago. No, 100 years ago, 75, 100 years ago. I just don't remember the date, but I have it in my book. I have it specifically.
And that's able to actually purchase the book, because we can't give away everything on this Instagram Live. People have to have something to be looking for. As in not the bubonic, because that was so many centuries ago.
Let's talk about the book. They could tell me what the date is.
Now, I want to, being a sparkling wine aficionada,
Okay.
I want to talk about the Spanish vineyard, like Freixenet, which is not a very high-end label here, but I guess I learned from speaking with you in our pre-interview that they have beautiful, wonderful cava, which is the word for sparkling wine in Spanish. But the label Freixenet, don't they have like a vineyard there in Mexico? Tell me about that.
Okay, so we've been talking about Guanajuato, okay, and that is a state. And then the state immediately to the east is Querétaro.
That's hard to say. Querétaro.
Querétaro. So the
Nice
wine regions of Guanajuato are on the east side of the state, and then east of that is Querétaro, and the wine regions are on the west side. So they're all kind of in that area. But the wineries that are in Querétaro specialize in sparkling wines. This is a real sparkling wines area. And you're right, Freixenet is there, and they're huge. I mean, they're huge. And they have a massive underground cave, huge. Like, I think it's the biggest cave in all of Mexico. And they're probably in the top, well, they're certainly in the top 10 of the largest wineries in all of Mexico. There's a couple of big ones that are in Valle de Guadalupe, but they're the biggest in Guanajuato and Querétaro by far. They're by far the biggest. And they make incredible sparkling. They really do. And you know, of course, I'm with the general manager who's the winemaker and runs that operation, and we're tasting his wines. And I said, my God, we need this in the United States. I'm in Los Angeles. You got to ship it there. And he says, that's my biggest problem. He says, I have no influence over the distribution. He says, it all happens in Spain. It's Freixenet corporate that decides where it all goes. So, I mean, I brought a few bottles home with me, and they're already gone.
Napoleon style.
The Napoleon style, of course, right. So, you know, it's that's one reason to go there, because you can get their really good sparkling wine and you can bring it home.
So that's like another one in, like, you think of Mexico, one of the first things, tequila, la playa, or even like the beautiful culture in Mexico City. But you don't think about wine. I mean, people who know, they've known about it for a while. It's in any field, like in medicine, people who know about things like Ozempic. Celebrities started losing weight like at least like 18 months to 2 years before it all, you know, people were starting to lose weight and we didn't know why. And then it all became clear because it kind of trickled down, you know, to more people who can actually like do that. Right. An analogy, not trying to promote Ozempic, but people don't know two things. They don't, first of all, they don't know about the wine in Mexico and the quality of the wine and the pervasiveness of the viticulture, but they also don't know that Freixenet, which is kind of like, you know, it's not that expensive and it's not considered a high quality, but there is this fabulous Freixenet champagne that I want to get my hands on, but you have to go there because the King of Spain is key. Oh, well, there's no king now. Here's a figurehead, but they're not letting it come to America.
Well,
the you know, the higher level stuff.
Mexico has its independence.
True.
But but
True.
but Freixenet, Mexico does not have its independence because Freixenet, Mexico is under the big Freixenet brand. And we should probably tell it because Freixenet is not Fresh like fresh. It's Freix. Freixenet.
And
Freixenet,
that
Mexico.
is that Catalan because Spanish doesn't usually have a lot of that kind of sound.
I've learned that the X's in Mexico in Spanish is sh. And I'm not fluent. I know a bunch, but you probably know better than I
Well,
do. But
X is
X's
usually like Oaxaca, Oxaca.
are,
Well, we don't want to
oh,
get
that's
into
correct.
linguistics.
Oh my God. So
I
it's
want to
not
hear about a one of a kind experience that you've had that people can listen to and say, "Hey, I want to be that man."
my gosh. I have
What
so
comes
many.
up for you?
One of a kind experience. My
Well,
gosh.
no, just like a wonderful experience that you can remember sitting around a table and because people they would like to go meet the vintner, like you can go to Napa Valley, but there's various ways and you kind of want to be, it's almost like going to Europe and staying with a family who's from the country. It makes it so much more meaningful and enriching when you have that, or if you speak some of the language. All these things make you feel closer to travel that you really love.
Well, the reason why I did the Central Coast is because Napa, everybody knows about, famous.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to the winery, you don't meet the winemaker. It's all big business there. When you go to the Central Coast, you can actually meet the owner of these wineries, the winemaker. I mean, they're welcoming you and wanting to share what's so great about their wines and their property. And that's what makes it such a special experience.
I would think so. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
like
that's
a
why
place,
I did it.
then people think, so kind of in your book, like throughout the series, well, Bordeaux might be an exception, but not everybody had all that information about the Malbecs in Argentina. And then you did the Central Coast, eschewing Napa and Sonoma. And Paso Robles is really kind of like hot right now. People are always talking about it.
And that's in the
What's the other one up there?
coast. That's in the Central Coast.
What is Paso Robles? That's the
Yes.
one that's like, because it was in the beginning, Napa and Sonoma were just getting known like X amount of years ago. But
Yes.
now they have it all going on. And so you could go here.
So I'm really loving the idea about introducing people to wine regions that they wouldn't necessarily consider, like the Central Coast, like Mexico, like Greece. I mean, people think of the beautiful, beautiful islands of Greece and not realizing, the wines, which we can't even pronounce their names. You think we're trying to figure out how the X is pronounced. Impression A. Wait till you get to these Greek words, because
Right.
because their X is like a Z, so there's like Ziamavro. Ziamavro starts with an X, and that's a Greek wine that's actually really good too. And you would like it
Opa.
because it's oftentimes it's related to Pinot Noir. In fact, the whole Ziamavro region where they grow this is sometimes referred to as the Burgundy of Greece.
The Burgundy of Greece. I love when they do those little shorthands that
Yeah,
help you understand it. But I'm
yeah,
still
because people
waiting
don't know.
for, I want to hear a personal story from you. I can ask you another question while you're percolating on it, if you'd like. Like we can talk about like how people can get in touch with you. They can follow you on Instagram. They can order the back books that are already out through your website or not. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Exploring Wine Regions is the name of the book series. So that is kind of the three words that you would use to find us. So exploringwineregions.com is our website. On Instagram, it's Exploring Wine Regions. On Facebook, it's Exploring Wine Regions. So people can find us through Exploring Wine Regions. And because of Baker and Taylor, we are in bookstores and gift shops all over the country. And not just the big ones like Barnes and Noble and Amazon, but like your local bookstores, carrying our books and local gift shops so people can find them all over the place. if you want to have an autographed copy, which I would be happy to do for your listeners, then go to our website, get the book there, put in a special note that says that, Michael offered to autograph this. I'll personalize it, and that's another way to get it too.
And then do you ship them? Like if you get a website order, then you ship it to the person who's requested the signing.
Exactly.
So e-commerce is available, for the specialization, or they can come to, I'm sure you'll be doing book signings. I know that like wine and books is, kind of a big trend now. There's at Vroman's in Pasadena, there's Vroman's 1894, I think it's called, is a wine bar. Have you been there?
I have. I live in Pasadena. Like? It's nice. We're planning to do a wine tasting book signing event there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really
You heard
good.
it here first.
Yes. And they tell me it's November, but I just don't have a date yet. Things move slowly, but November is going to be here. And
well, it's actually a very smart, we both go in book publishing. This is about a memoir about mother-daughter relationship. It's coming out in May near Mother's Day. But what a great time to come out in October with the events, because, books are book sales, like people make their most book sales, in November, December for the holidays. And there's a certain inherent, like when you buy a book for someone, there's value in the book. It kind of, when you give a gift, it kind of speaks about you, and people like that. I mean, the cash register is one of the best times of the year for books.
Right. It's the perfect gift. Like I was saying earlier, you don't always know what wine to buy somebody because you don't know what they like. But with the book, you can't go wrong.
Exactly. And you get a free trip. Not a free trip. You get to go and experience it yourself. And it's not free. Don't think that.
You mean the armchair trip?
Well, true.
Right.
Like the armchair quarterback, like my husband. Okay, yeah. Now, do you have any one-of-a-kind experiences to share? So I'm coming back to that. I might have told you in the pre-interview.
Well, every place I go to has something special that comes out. I mean, you're asking me this question, and my mind is just bouncing around to place after place after place. And I just don't know.
Like there's too many to choose from?
I've had people say to me, my gosh, you're writing a book about wineries. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's wine. It comes from grapes. They crush it. They ferment it. They bottle it. They're all the same. And then after they read my book, they go, oh my God, it's not the same at all.
No, it's not.
Every place is completely unique and different. And I never know what I'm going to come across. That's why when you talk about surprise experiences, I'm constantly having surprise experiences because everywhere I go, I don't know what's going to happen. And then what happens is always interesting and amazing. And that's what leads to what I write about in the book.
Well, I love the whole synchronicity. I don't know if you believe in that. I am a believer in synchronicity.
Yeah.
Like you went to Mexico to check it out, and then you hear from one of your favorite winemakers in Argentina that she's there now. I mean, that's like a sign.
It is. I mean, it is a sign. It really opened up the whole thing for Mexico. Because initially I was going to include Mexico with California because Baja California is California, just different country.
Right.
But
it deserved
its own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that discovery is a very important part of your books, because you did the Central Coast instead of Napa, and people are discovering through you, and your joy is actually discovering what's going to end up in the book. That's your one-of-a-kind experience.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, tell us how you got into.
Tell you a big surprise.
Okay.
A really big surprise. I have a girlfriend in Mexico.
Oh, I love this.
And this was a real surprise because this is amore. Sí.
Claro que sí, hombre.
This had nothing to do with wine, but I show up at this place, and I need to find you a picture here, and I'm going to show you.
Is this a picture of the girlfriend?
This is a picture of the girlfriend.
Oh, so she's in the book.
She's in the book.
It's a big thing in a relationship to put the picture in, like Taylor Swift having Travis Kelce be part of her act, because you can never erase that.
you become very committed, don't you?
Exactly. Like this relationship is ready to be seen.
Yes. Anyways, was this was total love at first sight.
Oh,
She would not let me go.
oh, oh. Oh my gosh, it's a monkey.
Look at her.
She's
She is
beautiful.
adorable. She truly would. She would kiss my lips. She would lick my nose. She would play with my hair. She would hug me. And when I went to leave, she said no.
Oh,
She
how
said
did you
no.
run into a monkey? And I'm afraid of them.
Are
I
you?
mean, I would be afraid of being that close to them. I mean, I'm not afraid if they're like right there.
Well, I have spent a lot of time in Africa. So I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of lions, and I know how dangerous they are. But here in Mexico, this is south of Ensenada. It's in my book, of course. You saw one picture. It's a preserve for animals. They rescue wild animals from all over Mexico, and they take care of them. Sometimes it's just food. Sometimes it's medicine. It's whatever they need. But while I was there,
What's the name of this monkey? Oh my gosh!
is that crazy?
Now
This is a
you didn't take that picture though as a photographer, because how could you take it when you were lying on a lion?
I know the lion is like 9 months old.
Oh,
He was oh my God, he was just but you know what? He was wild. I remember our two arms got hooked together and I pulled and he pulled and I pulled a little bit more. And oh my God, he's 9 months old, right? Yes. So
well, that
the
is
name of,
definitely a once in a lifetime. Many people don't even do that in all their lifetime. I mean, get that close to a wild lion.
yeah, I know. That was just incredible. It was
Did you
amazing. But
have like a trainer there with you, or someone telling you like how to approach and such and so?
well, one of the guys who worked there went in with me, and we went in there together. He's the one who took the picture.
Yeah,
But
because he couldn't take that picture
and we had
yourself.
a great big like bamboo log that the lion was playing with because he's a kitten, right? And he's got big teeth and big claws, and we were with him maybe 15, 20 minutes until he started to get a little too rambunctious, and we decided to leave. But Rebecca is my girlfriend.
That's the
she
monkey. Rebecca's the
Right.
monkey.
I mean, I was with her for an hour. They tried to get food to get her to get away from me. When
Something happened with the sound. Okay, that's good. Go on, Rebecca.
yeah. So they were trying to use food to get her to leave me, but she
To
would not leave me
uncleave,
for
to
anything.
uncleave.
She would wrap her tail around my neck, and then she would go all the way out over to them, and she would get the food. She's smart. She'd grab the food, and she'd come back. They couldn't get her away because her tail would hold on.
Yeah, and there's muscle in the tail, right?
Oh yeah,
They
she would not leave for
hold the
anything.
grip.
They finally had to go find some guy that knew her really well and bring him in. And he came in, and then she was willing to go hug him too. And that's. But I need to go see my girlfriend again.
Oh my gosh. Now, I don't want people viewing this to think that you also are going to be able to have Rebecca be your girlfriend, because that's,
Yes,
you'd have
that's
to know the
Rebecca.
person at the winery to take you down to the wild animal refuge.
See, you wanted unusual experience. There's one right
Now, is
there.
the picture of you and Rebecca the monkey in the book?
Yes, I'm showing you. These are. See, look, these are pages in the book. See?
Now, are
There's
you giving the other person the photo credit for that book? For the picture of you and Rebecca?
No. You see, these are all just the pages. These are loose pages, like the lion here. See the
I
lion?
love
But
that.
you can see, it's all part of the book. This is part of the book. It's in the book.
People will want this book. What does your book sell for? What's the price point?
Well, all of my books are either $44.95 or $34.95. So The California and Bordeaux are much bigger books, so they're $44.95, and Argentina and Mexico are smaller, so they're
But what
$34.95.
a great gift that would make for the
It's a
holidays.
great gift. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, you want to have a great gift idea? I'm going to tell you one.
Okay.
If you come to our website, exploringwineregions.com, and you want to buy a carton of the books, which of the big books is 10 to a carton, of the little books it's 12 to a carton, you get them at half price. Now,
Ooh, now
imagine
that's
this.
really good because there's a lot of corporate giving
So
going on. You know, a lot of people just work in the gifting industry all year long, but obviously it's, you know, the biggest time is around
imagine
the
this.
holidays.
For $17.50 or $22.50, depending on which book, that's your price at half price for buying a whole carton. What an incredible, impressive gift for 20 bucks.
Right. And you can give them like to everyone in your business
Exactly. Oh, yes.
who's been supportive and, you know, in your some kind of luxury or lifestyle or, you know, gourmet food space, all the, you know, all those things.
When the holidays come, there are several customers of ours who keep coming back every year at Christmas time and have me personalize and autograph books to people that they want to give books to, and I ship them directly to them.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, there's a doctor in Texas, maybe. I'm not sure where she is, but she'll order 20, 30, 40 books a year to get shipped to clients and people that she wants to have the books, and I personalize them to every single one of them.
Yeah, my client, I used to have the client John Kelly Chocolates,
Okay.
and they did, you know, they have 3 stores, and you know they've done well. They started it, you know, in Hollywood where they lived, and but it was the gifting. And one year, this bank, you know, big bank, they didn't use John Kelly chocolate because the price point is a little higher, and they had complaints. We don't want this chocolate. We want. So I know it's such an important time of the year. Again, the gift saying something about the bestower.
Yeah.
Ooh, I see that it's 10:44. So, can you leave a what words would you like to leave our? I would say follow Michael C Higgins and his whole empire on at exploringwineregions.com if you don't already, and you too can meet Rebecca. What was the name of the lion?
I need to look. The
Because we
lion. Um, Cesaro.
how do you say that?
Cesaro.
Cesara.
Is that
With it starts
how
with
you pronounce
a,
it? You do a good job of that.
well, you know, the king of Spain, the urban legend is that he had a lisp, and because it's on the soft C, like cocina, like the hard C's, what to say kitchen in Spanish, you don't. But on the soft C, cocina, it's not cocina, like in Mexico, it's
Oh
cocina.
my God, you
And
really
he
have
wanted
learned this
everybody to
language.
sound like him.
Hmm?
So everybody
Yeah.
had to lisp on those.
See, you're more
But
than
anyways,
fluent.
I,
You're
I
more
like
than fluent.
I am so mad at myself because I was so obsessed with passing the bilingual exam and I lived those years in Madrid that I never went to Portugal.
Oh
And
my
you
God,
know,
you're good to Portuguese too.
because they say like se come mejor in Bilbao, or like the best place to eat. You know, it's Bologna in Italy. It's like up in the northern San Sebastian region in Spain. And they also say if you speak Portuguese, you can understand Spanish, but if you speak Spanish, you're not going to be able to speak Portuguese. So I refused to go there because I couldn't practice my Spanish there. Now I'm going to have to go from America, you know, because that was kind of like short-sighted of me.
Yeah.
Is there any wine in Portugal?
Oh yes. Well, of course they're known for port, which is fortified wine. But, that's another thing I want to open people's eyes to is that they make excellent wine, regular, beautiful, premium, delicious wine. And the place is beautiful.
I know I
And
want to go now, and now I'm kicking myself because you can actually drive there from Madrid. You can take your car. But I see that it's after 10:45, so we're going to have to go. What would you like to leave our viewers with? besides, you know, maybe a carton of books and a big bottle of wine.
Okay, I got one for you. Did you know that wine grapes are the most intelligent species in the world? Did you know that? I'll tell you why.
Um,
I'll tell you why. They live in the most beautiful places on the planet. That's how smart they are. They do. When you look at wine regions, they're gorgeous, beautiful places. And of course, that's what my books are about, is going to those beautiful, gorgeous places.
and it is so visual, so lovely. Thank you for being with us today.
You're
Follow
welcome.
and go to Exploring Wine Regions. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.